unbelievable. Today I'm making another one of Ryan's family recipes. This time I'm making Southern style, Ryan's from Kentucky, cornbread stuffing. Just in time.
Dressing.
Stuffing.
No,
it's stuffing.
No, it's dressing.
Like, what is dressing? It's stuffing.
Well, we're not putting it in a bird, so I think it's dressing.
Today we're making Ryan's family cornbread dressing. How's that? Hey! Just in time for Thanksgiving. We've got the cornbread that we made last week. That's why it has a slice out of it. I'm sorry.
I had to try really hard not to eat it.
It's so good, and it's a key part of this dressing recipe. Let's begin. I'm gonna start by chopping 1 large onion. The first time I ever had this dressing recipe was when I went home to meet Ryan's family for the first time, which was over Thanksgiving. Very bold move, and I thought it was so good. Like, I was like, this is the best dressing I've ever had, and we've had it every Thanksgiving since. Beautiful. Moving on to the celery. So I'm just gonna split the celery in half and give it a rough chop so it'll be roughly the same size as the onions. So the part of this recipe that I get really excited by is that you take 2 sticks of butter and melt them in a pan. 2 sticks, guys, 2 sticks. It's the South, right? Just gonna set the pan over medium heat, let it heat up a minute, then add the butter. Hey. Okay, so now take your onions and celery, put them right in the pan with the butter. And just give it a good stir. So Ryan's grandmother very specifically says in this recipe, do not let the onions and celery get any color. You just want to get them softened, but no color. So I think that's gonna take about 5 minutes. Just keep an eye on it, keep stirring.
Kind of soupy.
I know, that's all the butter. But that's gonna keep it really like moist and tender, I think. So I'm gonna keep my eye on the veggies, move over to the bread. While this is a cornbread dressing, this recipe also uses either white bread, sourdough, so it's got that kind of double bread thing happening, which is another reason why I think it's so good. You could totally use white bread. We're using sourdough. We had it in the freezer. Honestly, it's a little freezer burnt, but it'll be fine. And it just gets cubed, so one slice at a time. How about that?
Is it not cutting?
Yeah, it doesn't really cut. Okay, the knife's not really doing it, so I'm gonna rip it. It's gonna be rustic. And kind of into like 1/2-inch cubes, about that size. Okay, I think these veggies look perfect. I'm gonna just shut off the heat, then add them to a very large bowl. You want a bowl that's big enough where you can really toss everything together, so go big or go home. Oh my God, it's like swimming in butter. Okay, so the pan is still hot. There's still plenty of butter in it, and I'm just gonna add the bread cubes, rustic bread, just to get a little color. Again, Ryan's grandmother says, do not get any color on it. You just want it to be like lightly toasted.
It's also gonna soak up all that leftover butter in there.
Right, there you go. Soak up the butter. Butter on butter. And you can do this on medium heat too. Should take, I don't know, 2 minutes, a minute? Yeah, I'm just trying to move it around, soak up all that extra butter. Get a little bit of toasty goodness on it. And then I'm gonna add it right to the pan with the onions and celery. Okay, I think at this point, tell me if I'm wrong, we add the cornbread. Yeah, good, okay. And how much cornbread? All of it? With my hands?
I think the recipe calls for 4.5 to 5 cups.
But we're gonna use all of it. Okay, so take that beautiful cornbread, have a snack. And again, the fun part about doing it with your hands is that you get kind of these uneven pieces, which means more texture. So this recipe, you can use pecans or walnuts. We're using pecans. Just try to keep it about the same size as the onions and celery. So again, rough, don't stress yourself out too much. And I think this looks pretty good, so just add it right to the bowl. We're nearing the end. Okay, we're gonna add also some parsley. Again, rough chop. Do you sense a theme here?
Oh wow, that smells so good.
It smells so fresh. So once you've chopped it, again, add it straight to the bowl. And now we've actually got to go get some sage, which we have in the garden. It's November, the garden is looking sad, but we still have sage, so I think we can go pick some and make use of what's left. We don't need that much sage, just a few tablespoons. And yeah, I think we've got sage for days. This'll do. Back to the kitchen. I don't want to shock you too much, but we're gonna give this a rough chop. Okay. Do you think this is too much sage?
Maybe.
We'll add a tablespoon at a time, see how that feels. Okay, that's 1, 2, that kind of feels right. So next up, we gotta move on to the binder. So we're using a bit of chicken stock, you could use vegetable or even turkey, and some eggs. That's really gonna hold it together. So just take 2 eggs and beat them right in the bowl. Whoops. And then you can just add the eggs right to the stock. Whoop. And so whisk to combine. I know this looks kind of funky, but it's all gonna work out. So now just pour the stock egg mixture right over the big bowl of ingredients. Perfect. Then add the baking powder right over.
Ruby, do you like baking powder?
She thinks she does. And then salt and pepper, of course. I'm gonna be pretty generous. Our pepper grinder just broke, so we have this one that I use for testing, which is really handy for testing recipes and is moderately annoying for this purpose. That'll do.
I think I know what I can get you for Christmas.
Hey! And now we just mix to combine. Very exciting. Should I be using my hands?
I would use your hands, yeah. My grandma always used her hands.
Oh, that's way better. Okay, everyone use your hands. I love that we're gonna eat this like twice in a month. Very exciting. So I think this is probably good. It's like just combined. So next you need your baking vessel. I don't wanna wash my hands again, so. There we go. And because there's so much butter in this already, we don't need to butter the pan. Kind of nice, right? And just put it in an even layer.
Yep.
Oh, beautiful. I love seeing all the different textures and colors. So you just want to smooth it in an even layer, something just like that. Perfect. So just like the cornbread, we're gonna bake this at 450 degrees for 20 minutes. You really don't wanna overbake it because then it's gonna dry out. 20 minutes is all you need. Okay, moment of truth. Oh, beautiful. Wow, it looks so good. Wow, it is very hot. As you can see, it's still bubbling with butter. Gonna let this cool for a few minutes before tasting it, but we've got all these craggy bits. The nuts got beautifully toasted. There's pieces of corn, like everything just kind of came together in a really beautiful way. It's my dream dressing. And maybe I will just taste it now because I'm impatient. It feels kind of crazy to just like go ham in a big tray of dressing, but oh, perfect. Ryan's grandmother really knew what was up. This stuff is amazing. I'd love to hear about your Thanksgiving traditions in the comments, and if you call it dressing or stuffing, let us know.
Everybody says that I'm a fool for giving you my love the way that I do.